Today we're back on the Am I the A-hole subreddit and I'm so excited. Gonna read some absolutely ludicrous stuff today as we do every single day. It's a beautiful morning today and this is how I'm starting the day today. That's probably unhealthy, but it's okay. Enjoy, guys. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister it's her fault that her son is being bullied? My 26 female sister, 33 female, has two sons, Bracken, 13 male, and Neville, 11 male. My husband, 24 male, and I went to a basket raffle at our local library this past weekend with my sister, Bracken, Neville, and Bracken's girlfriend, 13 female, and my sister's husband, 33 male. The raffle's held every year and has many local businesses and organisations donate baskets to help raise funds for the library. There are all sorts of baskets, from free messages to gift cards to sports jerseys and so much more. Bracken got some tickets for all the sports related ones. He plays baseball and has done this every year, and he's been pretty successful in the past. Bracken then went around with his girlfriend. I was hanging out with my husband, sister, and the rest of the family while looking at the baskets. When Bracken and his girlfriend came back to us, shortly after this, while still looking at the baskets, we saw some sciencey baskets with projects and books for kids and adults. This type of stuff is what Neville likes. It was going fine until in that section they had a few baskets that were aimed at girls in science and STEM. When Neville saw the baskets, he called them stupid and started making some pretty awful comments about how girls are too dumb for science and that's why they needed special baskets. He made some more comments like this is why robotics club is all boys. My husband and I just dismissed it, but we could see a few people giving us looks, and Bracken made a comment telling Neville to shut his mouth. Right, so Neville is 11 and Bracken is 13. The raffle happened, Bracken won a lot, the rest of us didn't. On the car ride home, my hubby and I were asking each other where Neville could have learnt that language, and we were stumped. Last night I got a call from my sister and she seemed stressed. She was telling me about how horrible Neville's first month of middle school was. She was telling me how he was being targeted and bullied. I asked her to explain what happened and she just started crying. I asked if she could give the phone to someone else. She gave it to Bracken, who told us that she wasn't telling the truth. He said that kids were mocking Neville for what he said at the raffle. Bracken admitted he was telling his friends about it, who then spread it around to the 6th graders. Some of the kids in Neville's grade were calling him creepy and weird, and were doing it to his friends as well, who defended his comments. My sister quickly grabbed the phone from him after. After she calmed down, she asked me what to do. I told her that this was on her and it's her fault for not correcting Neville's behaviour. She said that she didn't know why he said it and said that she can't just take away his phone or friends. When I mentioned both a possible source, she just doubled down and said that she needs to teach Bracken and his friends not to gossip. I told her she was being ridiculous and hung up. She tried calling back and I didn't pick up. Then I got angry messages. Am I the a-hole? The top comment, I thought this was going to be about bullying because she named her son Bracken, but not the a-hole. Yeah, I feel like it's not the a-hole, but they also should have said something. But yeah, obviously, where they said they need to teach Bracken and his friends not to gossip, that's not the answer. You need to try and get that attitude out of, what was the other kid's name? Neville? Yeah, like this comment says, everybody sucks here, except Bracken. There's an 11-year-old falling into the misogynistic, sexist rabbit hole. Poor parenting. No one, including you, your husband, and his mum didn't say anything, instead ignored his comment. I applaud Bracken for at least telling him to shut up. Bracken, not gonna lie, is the only one who made sure that Neville knew what he said was wrong. Even if it caused bullying, I bet Neville knows what he said was wrong now because of Bracken. I just see it as a bully learning lesson. You're not wrong though, your sister should have put some sense in her kid's head, but at the same time, you ignored what Neville said. Sure, she's the parent, but he needs to know everyone disapproves of his situation, which includes you. Yeah, I feel like there's definitely some truth to that as well. Am I the a-hole for not backing down on my daughter's teachers calling her the proper name? My daughter, Alexandra, 14 female, hates any shortened version of her name. This has gone on since she was about 10. The family respects it and she's pretty good about advocating for herself should someone call her Lexi or Alex, etc. She also hates it when people get her name wrong and just wants to be called Alexandra. She took Spanish in middle school. The teacher wanted to call all students by the Spanish version of their name, provided that there was one, so she tried to call Alexandra Alejandra. Alexandra corrected her and the teacher respected it. She had the same teacher all 3 years of middle school, so it wasn't an issue. Now she's in high school and she's still taking Spanish, and once again the new teacher announced if a student had a Spanish version of their name, she'd call them that. Alexandra corrected her, but the teacher ignored her. My daughter came home upset after the second week. I'm not the type of mum to write emails, but I felt I had to in this case. If it matters, this teacher is not Hispanic herself, so it's not a pronunciation issue. Her argument is is that if these kids ever went to a Spanish-speaking country, they'd be called by that name. I found this excuse a little weak as the middle school Spanish teacher was actually Hispanic, who had come here from a Spanish-speaking country, and she respected Alexandra's wishes. The teacher tried to dig in her heels, but I said that if it wasn't that big of a deal in her eyes that she calls her Alejandra, why is it such a big deal to just call her Alexandra? Eventually she gave in. Alexandra confirmed that her teacher is calling her by her proper name. My husband feels like I blew this out of proportion and Alexandra could have sucked it up for a year. The school has 3 different Spanish teachers, so odds are she could get another one for her sophomore year. Am I the a-hole? Yeah, I don't know, because on one hand, yeah, like they're standing up for their daughter, and if they don't want to be called a certain name, then fine. That should kind of be the end of it, but at the same time, they are in a Spanish class, and it's such not a big deal. There are some interesting comments here though. The top comment says, my husband feels I blew this out of proportion and Alexandra could have sucked it up for a year. She could have, but she didn't have to. Good for you for having your daughter's back. Too bad your husband didn't. And then there's also comments like this one. Everybody sucks here. Converting names in a foreign language class is a common thing, even when it's a complete swap like this in a French class. It's not a personal attack or a disrespect right off the bat. The middle school Spanish teacher probably gave in because it's not worth the hassle dealing with parents who think every kid's demand must be met, which honestly is what this high school teacher probably should have done for their own sanity. Your husband is right that you and Alexandra are overreacting to the situation. Your email isn't going to help either. And then comments like this one. I'm Puerto Rican and I have a cousin whose name is Alexandra. Nobody's ever insisted on calling her a different name. Not a big deal, not the a-hole. Yeah, I feel like that's the right answer. Let me know what you think, guys. Am I the a-hole for yelling at my mentally handicapped cousin for cutting up all of my dresses? So recently my aunt, female 41, and her son, male 13, came home to my country from Sweden. We have a spare room where my dresses are hung since my room is a little small. They're sort of hidden away on a rack in the corner, so you have to pull them out to see them. My aunt and my cousin were going to sleep in there, which I didn't have a problem with. He's mentally handicapped, I don't know really what it is, and practically acts like a 7-year-old, which is a little annoying, but I don't blame him or anything. When I woke up in the morning, I was really hot and everyone was downstairs, so I walked into the spare room to find a dress, only to find practically every single one with cuts and parts of them on the floor. I freaked out and I instantly knew who it was, since my aunt and my mum wouldn't do something like that. I stormed down the stairs and I screamed at him, which attracted my aunt and my mum to come immediately. I couldn't be calmed down at all since I bought all of these dresses with my own money. He started crying and my aunt hugged him trying to console him whilst my mum started yelling at me for making him cry. He even admitted to it after a while, and even then they consoled him. My mum offered to pay for some, but it's only enough for like 10 dresses and I had over 30 dresses. Oh my god. Besides, I can't find some of my favorites in stores since we're getting closer to winter, and the fact that I was proud that I paid for it myself. Some of my family, including my mum and aunt, are telling me that I'm in the wrong and I need to apologize to him, but I really don't think I'm wrong. Am I the a-hole? For some context, I'm a 16-year-old cis woman and I haven't seen my aunt and cousin for a little over 2 years. We have a shared desk beside the dresses that have a few scissors here and there. My mum and I forgot about them when they came, so we didn't hide anything away. Yeah, definitely not the a-hole like this comment says. Dear mum and aunt, if my cousin is incapable of bearing responsibility for his behaviour, then he's incapable of being left alone without parental supervision. As the adults in the situation, it's your responsibility to fully replace the property that was lost when you left someone unsupervised who you know should not be left alone. Here's a list of what was lost along with the total price. If they complain about the price, you can remind them how many hours of your life you worked for that money. Yeah, it's 100% the parents' fault. And also, what sort of logic is that? Like, you should apologize, and then what? Is something like this gonna happen again? And then you're meant to apologize again? Yeah, the parents need to take responsibility 100%. Yeah, like these comments say, not the a-hole. I'm sorry I yelled. I know he can't control himself and it's not his fault. However, I'll need all of my clothing replaced. And the comment under it, depending on his exact issue, he may actually be able to control himself. Though based on his mum's reaction, I'd say that he rarely, if ever, has to. Yeah, definitely not the a-hole. Like, yeah, of course, you be as understanding as you can be, but their aunt can't be acting like this is okay. Am I the a-hole for laughing at my biological parents' face when they told me that leaving us was the hardest decision they ever made? My biological mother's side and biological father's side have 2 marriages between the families. One of them is our bio parents, and one of them is between my bio mum's brother, 55, and my bio dad's sister, 54. My biological mum, Linda, and my biological dad, Chris, actually have met in my uncle and aunt's engagement dinner when both of them were 16. Linda and Chris are still complete wrecks. My biological dad was the troubled one of the family, who would have problems with school or work, and my biological mum has addiction issues since she was 14. When they met and started to have a relationship, both sides of the family tried to break them up. They eventually sent them to different countries, but they stole $50,000 from their families, managed to come together and ran away when they were 19. They got married in a third world country and they had me, 25 male, and my twin brother when they were 21 years old. They thought that we were dead weight, so they left us in the hospital and they went into another country. Luckily, they've checked into the hospital with their passports, so the hospital was able to reach into the embassy. Then they found my grandparents and they brought us back home, and we've been raised by our uncle and aunt since. We call them mum and dad. My parents were charged with child abandonment, but after 10 years of being MIA, the charges were dropped and our families also didn't try to look for them. 2 years ago, they showed up at my dad's parents' house in a completely renovated look. Turns out they finished their education, had stable jobs in the country, started to get mental health treatments, and they were sober for 9 years, and they've basically put themselves together. The first 6 months, they've only seen their parents in public places, and then they were accepted into the houses. A year later, they've met us when we were 24. Me and my twin brother started to have a relationship with them, and we're somewhat cordial now. Last week, our abandonment topic was open, and Linda said it was the hardest choice they ever had to make. I started to laugh uncontrollably after that, and when they asked, told them that they had multiple choices to come back, and they didn't, and our families were right not to trust them, and they would always have the eyes on them, and they should accept this at this stage. Linda started to cry, and they left shortly after. All of the family except my brother think I was being too cruel and I should apologize, but I think they had to hear the unfiltered truth. Am I the a-hole? If I'm understanding what I just read, definitely not the a-hole. They left you as a baby, and they didn't come back until you were 24? Definitely not the a-hole. Yeah, like the top comment says, not the a-hole. They abandoned you in a foreign hospital. If they'd left you with your family and then tried making something of themselves, it would be forgivable. I don't really think what they did is, yeah, for sure not the a-hole. Have we had any a-holes today? I don't think so, but who knows what the future holds. Am I the a-hole for not letting my boyfriend wear my t-shirts? I, 20 female, and my boyfriend, 20 male, share pretty much everything. I like my t-shirts oversized, usually a men's medium, so they fit him. Recently, he started playing paintball. Oh, here we go. And started wearing the t-shirts I bought. He says it'll wash out, which it sometimes does. He'll go get clothes covered in paint and wait 2 to 3 weeks to wash it. Oh my god, what? He wore my black cargo pants, which really ticked me off because I like the way they fit me. I told him I don't want him wearing my clothes anymore. We got into an argument and I said he should buy his own clothes, which hit a nerve because he doesn't have a job. I make more than enough money to support us and money isn't the problem. It's the fact that he has no problem ruining clothes that he didn't buy. I do feel bad for arguing and bringing that up because he has no income. Am I the a-hole? Hey bro, if you're gonna wear somebody else's clothes, don't go paintballing in them. Are you joking? This is the most obvious thing I think we've ever read. You're not an a-hole for not wanting your clothes to get ruined. Am I the a-hole for yelling at my husband over bread? Whenever I buy something out of the ordinary with a specific dinner purpose in mind, my husband manages to find it and eat it. I'm sure if I was planning to bake something and bought yeast, I would come home to find him completely distended and surrounded in empty yeast packets. I usually stick to the same grocery list every week, and if I feel like it, I buy something out of the ordinary that's obviously an ingredient for a larger meal. He could at least ask before devouring it. Last night, I bought 2 baguettes, which I've only ever purchased to make French bread pizza for him and our kids. I bought these at 11 p.m, and they were not even here after 12 hours when I saw them on the counter. With the first 6 inches ripped off each loaf, I scanned the house, and I saw my husband chewing. If it had been one loaf, okay. If he'd used a knife, maybe. But the fact that he didn't ask if they were going to be for dinner and then rip the top off both of them, no, this is so frustrating. That was the final boss bloater in The Last of Us that lumbers out of the hole and rips that guy's head off. This is unforgivable. He insists that I should tell him when I buy things if they're for a specific purpose. I say that I'm already taking on the burden of grocery shopping and cooking, and the least he can do is ask. Am I the a-hole here? Edit some information. We have 2 snack cabinets that he is free to snack from, not to mention whatever's in the fridge. 2, the bread was in a cabinet that is mostly ingredients. There was regular sandwich bread for the taking that was unharmed. For those who have stated this is like raccoon behavior, it really does feel like I'm running a wildlife rehab operation, but the only patient is a 37-year-old software programmer. To the dude who said that my husband is gonna leave for another woman who will give him peace, tell me that you're still bitter about how things ended with Sheila without telling me that you're still bitter about how things ended with Sheila. Yeah, that's bloody ridiculous. Edit. Wow, I was not expecting this to blow up, or for so many people to have such strong feelings about bread. Thank you for all your input, especially my sister who unexpectedly chimed in. This may be the most validating experience of 7 years of living together. I shared this with my husband and he accepted his a-hole status and apologized. We're going to work on communicating better and he's going to work on his weaponized incompetence. He wants you to know that he occasionally cooks rice and beans and lately has been making us late night quesadillas when the kids are asleep. But most of all, I was just hungry, my husband. Well, at least they realize they're in the wrong, because they 100% are. And yet to rip the top off them and to do that to both of them, like what good is the rest of it for somebody else? That's uncivilized behavior, 100%. But yeah, it sounds like everything's okay now, so that's good. Am I the a-hole for missing my brother's gender reveal? I don't think I'm an a-hole, but I'd like some input. I, female 31, have a brother, male 23, who's gonna have his first baby. My family, meaning my mum, dad, and sisters, my husband, and myself, are all happy for him. We met up at my mum's house early September for dad's birthday, and he and his girlfriend were mentioning the upcoming gender reveal in October. I told him a specific date in October that I already had an event to go to. A friend of mine is celebrating her birthday by bar hopping downtown in a party bus. We're all gonna share the cost since it was quite expensive. He assured me that it was gonna be on a Sunday. Time skip to yesterday, he sent off the invitation to the gender reveal via our entire family's WhatsApp group chat, and it was the exact day of the party. I responded by asking why was it on a Saturday and that I had a previous commitment that I had to RSVP to. His response was, I guess a party bus is more important than a gender reveal. I reminded him that we'd already talked about it. My aunt chimed in reminding us that it is her and another cousin's birthday. He said that he won't change the date because some of his girlfriend's relatives are coming from another state. Will I be the a-hole if I miss his gender reveal? Absolutely not. And they're being super rude about it as well. They're being all snarky about it. Oh, I guess a party bus is more important than a gender reveal. Like, not to be rude, but it might be, you know? And you're not in the wrong because you already told them that you can't go on this day, like a long time ago. And how rude of them to expect you to just cancel your other plans. Yeah, like this comment says, not the a-hole, you had plans. You told him you were busy on a specific date. It doesn't matter what the plans are, you already made them before he planned this. It's an invitation, not a summons. You aren't required to go. Yeah, nah, it's super unreasonable for them to expect you to go, especially when you've been super reasonable and you already told them that you can't go. Definitely not the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for not buying my girlfriend a new jacket after throwing her old one away? I feel like we don't even need to read this one. With the start of this month, my girlfriend and I moved back to my childhood home for a few months, and since nobody lived in my old room for quite a while, it was very cluttered. So a few weeks before we moved in, I went to my old room with my dad to get rid of a bunch of old stuff that I didn't need anymore, like old clothes and just other junk I found in there. In the meantime, my family put some of my sister's clothes in the closet, as well as other stuff that I wasn't entirely sure whose they were. So while I'm there cleaning and throwing stuff away, I see a woman's shirt and a jacket in one of the closets. I take a picture and I send it to my girlfriend and I ask her if they're hers. She responds, no, they're your ex's. Me, very funny but wrong. At this point, I put my phone back in my pocket, throw the clothes away and continue clearing out the room. Next time I look at my phone, I see that my girlfriend shortly after my last message wrote that they are mine, yes. Now at this point, the trash bag with their clothes alongside at least 5 other trash bags are in the public bin, so I didn't feel like going and picking through the trash trying to find them, and I left them there. My girlfriend has been unhappy since this happened, mentioning a few times that I should buy her a new one, but I really don't think that's fair, since I feel like it's almost entirely her fault for them being thrown out because of her joking with me not in the best moment. Nah, not really though. Today she sent me a picture of the same similar jacket from a store and asked if she can use my money to buy it. I responded that I'm willing to pay for half of it, to which she responded, I already paid for it once before. Am I the a-hole for throwing away the jacket and not wanting to buy a new one? Yeah, 100%. And if you weren't willing to get it out of the bag again, then you should be willing to buy them a new one. That's the price you pay for that, you know? I feel like you could have found the bag again, so you didn't chuck it out, but you did end up chucking them out. So I feel like it sort of makes sense that in that situation, you'd be like, oh, okay, I'll buy her a new one. At the end of the day, even though they did message you a little bit late or something, you still threw their jacket out. Even though it was a misunderstanding, you could have got it back. So yeah, I do feel like that's wrong in this situation. And I also feel like that's enough Am I the a-hole for today, guys. That was so fun, but it's so absolutely wholesome memes time. So yeah, let's read something not concerning. So don't worry, our tech team is working very hard to have your computer fixed as soon as possible. Oh, the cutest tech team in the world. Beautiful little babies. That's so cute. Today I learned that my 5-year-old defines perfect as when something makes someone really, really happy. I hope everyone has a perfect day. Damn, that's so awesome. Your 5-year-old is definitely onto something. At 5 years old too, that's awesome. I feel like I could barely function when I was 5. Nothing's changed. I had some trouble with cooking making pancakes on the stove today, so I thought about resorting to the rice cooker to cook the rest of the batter. Welp. It looks like food out of Animal Crossing or something. Would it taste really good or awful? I'm not sure. Sometimes you save them, and sometimes they save you. Yeah, wow, that's so true. I'm sure you guys know from my Facecam episodes, but I have Nez and Jin in this room here with me, and Chico in another area. But God, cats are really good company. Like, they're either always doing something funny, so they're super entertaining, or yeah, if you are sad about something, they sort of take your mind off it. Very much recommend. Not my Jeep or dog, but I thought everyone would like this. That's such a nice thing of the owner to do, and also everybody else gets to see their cute dog. Yeah, love that so much. And once again, thank you for watching, guys. I hope you had a wonderful time, and if you did, you know what to do. Make sure you like and subscribe, all that fun stuff. And the comment of the day goes to Addicted to Mako. You know a post is going to be extra choosing beggary when it begins with the words, "Let's try this again." The passive aggression is practically oozing through the screen. Yeah, oh my god, choosing beggars are something else. That was on yesterday's episode if you haven't seen that, guys. Yeah, we read some wild stuff, don't we? And let's do it again tomorrow, shall we, guys? Make sure you look after yourself and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And you know what I'm about to say because I say it every single day. Bye!